this game is at the core of my sort of origin story with gaming. I think from what my family told me, I was practically a toddler and just barely able to speak when I picked this game up. The story goes that my dad went to the toilet in the middle of playing and he came back and I was carrying on the game and playing it like he would be. A pretty interesting confirmation of like learned behaviour as children. My interest in gaming began with this game, so I wanted to just do a little mini-series just to sort of express my love for it, but also I've not played it in years, so I thought it would just be fun to go back and be a bit nostalgic. So I kind of look back at this game with a lot of fond memories, and Green Hill Zone sort of began as the narrative backdrop for a tale that's not really told like in your face, but you sort of start in all these natural environments that are being taken over by robots and or badniks as they're known in the Sonic universe, and there's quite a clear emphasis on the whole nature versus the machine, the sort of man-made technological advances coming up against nature struggling to survive. You know, we have issues with things like that with like foxes living in cities for the majority of the time and such like that. Well, we've got character tales in the Sonic series, I guess. But the Sonic character's a strange one for me because I've always looked at these games with a better kind of fondness than the actual 3D ones now. I absolutely love Sonic Adventure, and it, you know, I've done playthroughs as an adult, and it's a mess. It's just a mess. I think Sonic and Mario have always been kind of game rivals, and I think Sega took their eyes off the ball by watching what Mario was doing and trying to follow suit, so they were like still sort of head to head in the industry. And when Mario went 3D, like Mario 64 is known as being an all-time phenomenal game, whereas Sonic Adventures had mixed reception, and I can understand why, because they tried to make the character more edgy, and I feel like there was a boardroom of people that were all sat together and went, what can we do to make Sonic cool? Like, you know, in these games he doesn't really have a personality. It's like a sort of, he's got this crazy speed and... Oh, gotta get that ring! Woo! He's got this crazy speed and, you know, this unusual blue colouring, but... Oh, one sec. But his personality isn't really emphasised in the games. He's just an animal, and I think that's why I like the original games more, because there's a level of innocence to his character. There's a level of like, he's been experimented on and he's fighting against this intrusion in the land with the machines and all the unusual things that are going on. I'll try my best to get all the Chaos Emeralds. I have done it before. Let's see if I can do it again. And I've got a bit of a funny relationship with Green Hill because it's the level everyone remembers, and it's in terms of Sega, they have remade this level to death. Like, it's been in one way or another remastered for nearly every generation of Sonic in some way, and I think they're playing at the sort of nostalgia element rather than seeing it as good level design, because it's great and it stands out, and yes, it's the one that everyone remembers, but is it that great that it needs to be in every generation? Probably not. Now, like I say, I like this whole, you start in the natural areas, you progress and the environments become more volatile and more mechanical, and it hints at that whole nature trying to survive besides humans, as I said earlier. But I just feel like Sonic as a series isn't about surfing and chili dogs. It's more about the struggle. Like this boss, for example, right? I will get like nostalgic with this now. I used to always ask my grandma to do this boss for me. As simple as it is, I just couldn't get my head around the ball mechanic. Even though, like, clearly you just duck under, hit him, and you can just dodge it. Like, it's the only boss in the games that I ever struggled with for some reason. Like, obviously now I have no trouble with it, but perhaps it was through, like I was saying in my intro, I observed how my grandma did it and sort of learned that there was a trick to it. Because when you're a child and you pick up a game, you just want to hit the bad guys and get through, which most games don't let you do that. Now, if we're talking about levels that... Oh, wow, how clumsy. Levels that leave an imprint, the marble zone for me is so unusual because it's covered in purple bricks. It's some kind of ancient shrine from what I can gather, and you know, why is it called is it just called the marble zone because it's made of marble, or are they hinting at something there? I don't know. This always made me think of spaghetti and tomato sauce rather than lava when I was a child. Obviously I knew it was lava, but it just had that spaghetti and tomato sauce look. Wow, it's pretty tough to talk and play Sonic because of the pacing. Wow, see that bugginess there. No, that wasn't in the original copy. This is clearly like a bit of a iffy port. The fear of getting crushed by these. So many times as a child I was crushed by them. What are they? Glass? I don't know. This always reminded me of the inside of an aero, so I always thought it was just a big block of mint. I had a vivid imagination as a child, which probably really helps with things like this. But yeah, Green Hill Zone's been overdone, and it's the one where everyone remembers the theme tune and stuff, and it's like, did you ever get past the first area? Like, Scrap Brain Zone on this has got a way more memorable theme. I think the actual music is a masterpiece. It highlights that you're at the peak, that you've got somewhere that animals shouldn't get, and that it's really dangerous, and there's all these whirring blades and death traps everywhere planted by Robotnik, as he's called in this. That's another thing with this series that bugs me a lot. Why did he? I mean, I said in the previous stages, he was formed by the Chaos Emeralds and an egg being in the microwave. The sort of original origin story, anyway. But the characters referred to him as Eggman. But then he goes to eventually refer to himself as Eggman, and I found that really strange, like a disconnect. Like, I understand them mocking the character for his big fat belly and egg-like appearance, but like, why would he then absorb that nickname unless he was in some way, in some way fond of the Sonic characters, which he shouldn't be, because he's always like having his machines and plots ruined by them. So I just can't fathom that. I think he should have stayed as Robotnik, because there's a the level of sort of sci-fi, maybe even Fifth Element style charm to Robotnik as a name. Oh, there's spikes somewhere here, I remember him. Oh, there they are. They got me a few times. It's funny what games do to you as a child, because I remember this zone in particular giving me nightmares about lava chasing me down the street and the floor falling from beneath me as I'm running away, and there was a very particular dream where I was staying at my grandparents and they had red curtains at the time, and I dreamt that those curtains just went from being curtains and slowly became lava and started filling the room. And as a child, I guess I probably fixated on the games probably a bit too much. Like, this is the one game series where I've played it to death. Like, this game especially, I've completed over 20 times, and I'm not really the kind of person to overindulge on a game. Like, I like it to have its memory with me so that I've got that impression and I'm not sick of it. But these games I just never really got sick of. They're just a joy to sort of dance through and weave through all the obstacles and stuff. And the other charm to the original set of Sonic games is the collecting of the Chaos Emeralds is integrated into the game. It's not some plot point that's just like arbitrary. There's a skill and a challenge to getting like the full completion of the game, which is the Chaos Emeralds among everything else. And I think the series lost a bit of intrigue when they made that a sort of wayside thing, because they're where everything begins. They're the sort of mystery in the series. Why does Sonic go gold and gain loads of crazy power when he like tunes in with them? Super Sonic's always been a bit of a weird one. And going over Super Sonic, there's something that's always intrigued me in terms of its timing. Super Sonic very much reminds me of Goku and his Super Saiyan transformation, and the fact that he's called Super Sonic as well is a bit strange for me. And you know, this series has been known to plagiarise things. I mean, the Death Egg itself looks like the Death Star, and I think that's like, rather than being a knockoff, I think it's their way of paying homage to it. It's like a parody in some sense. So I have no problem with those kind of things. It's just well, I might not get all the emeralds on this run. It's been a while since I've done the emerald minigame, but this is what I'm saying. The challenge of one needing to have 50 rings at the end of the level, and then actually completing the minigame to get the emerald, like that added replayability for me. I completed it as a child without all the emeralds, and the credits went up, and then Eggman came on juggling the emeralds that I hadn't collected, and I always found that a great way to pull you in and go like, well, you think you've done it, but you've not. Like, it's like a sort of hollow victory, which is an amazing thing to have added. Because, you know, in a normal game, you'd get to the end, the credits would come up, and you'd be like, right, well, I'm done with that. That can go back on the pile. Where this didn't have that. It had that challenge, like, oh, you think you're good? Well, master it then. I always thought those murals in the background looked like crabs pouting. Pouting? Pouching! I know what I thought was some shine. See, this intrigued me as well, like the prison bars. Like, what's captured here? Are we in some kind of molten prison that's been integrated into a volcanic temple? The Marble Zones have always amazed me. I'm fascinated by where the inspiration for it came from. It stands out, and you know, if any zone has ever needed a remaster, it has been this. I'd love to see a Sonic Generations style version of this where we have a 2D one to play through and a sort of 3D face-forward fast level version of it. I just think that would be nicely coloured, like the purple and the oranges and yellows sort of contrast on the colour wheel, and they complement each other. So, you know, even the rings, like the yellow rings, stand out so much more on this stage because of the purple. Is it my favourite stage of all time? Probably not. I think that's either reserved for the Scrap Brain Zone or the Lava Reef Zone in Sonic and Knuckles, because the music on that stage, like, I can't emphasise how many dance remix versions of that I've listened to, because it's just a very well composed song. Ooh, I might do a playthrough of Sonic and Knuckles at some point. Maybe I'll go through them chronologically, because Sonic 2 is the definitive best Sonic game. It achieves so much in such a short space of time. Right, come on, let's do this. This sort of lava prison has been referenced as well, like in Sonic Adventure. There's Red Mountain, and there's a sort of lava room with prison cells with like really bizarre looking creatures behind the bars, and I don't know whether they've like just referenced this for the nostalgia or whether they're trying to tell something in the story that's not maybe so obvious to us. This area always made me panic as a child, because you fall down there and you've got to go back round and do it all again. Whoa! 87 rings, for God's sake. I had a little go of this before doing the Let's Play, and I've got to say, I'm so much more clumsy when I'm playing it in front of the camera. Is it nerves? Or am I just an idiot? Probably an idiot. The bosses in these games are so simple as well. It's just the same mech design, but with a little funnel on it dropping fire. But it changes things up. You have to keep moving. You have to stay on top of things. And I think that is probably a good way to end it. 2 zones in. We'll probably get like 3 episodes out of this. I think the Sonic series is worth celebrating, because as much as it's had its dodgy outings, it's why a lot of people became big on gaming. Like, I think without my fixation on Sonic, I might have gone a different way. I don't think there was any other game until Pokemon, which, I was about 9 or 10 years old when that came out. There was nothing I quite focused on as much as Sonic. It was that challenge and that need for mastery, and I'd love that. Like Sonic Mania, for example, is gobsmacking, like mind blowing, and he does it better than Sega do it. Is it Christian Whitehead? He does it better than Sega do it, and I think they need to give him his own 2D division, because he clearly understands what the series does and needs. So I'll see you in the next episode. I've had good fun playing that. Although it's so hard to concentrate on the fast-moving environment and the conversation, where obviously Pokemon was turn-based, so if I needed a moment to think, it was like, well, I'll just wait to choose my turn. But I'll get over it eventually. See you in the next episode.
You're strong, you can fly.